Okay, so you guys know by now, Jerome Powell and the Feds have officially cut rates 0.75, and you all know there's a big problem with that. As they've cut 75 basis points, you keep calling us and saying, hey, Kenny, so I heard the rates went down 75 basis points. And then I respond to you and said, no, they didn't. You missed the boat. That was before the first 50 basis points cut. Rates were down 75 basis points, 100 basis points, but now they are up. And as I make this video, the 10-year Treasury today is 4.429. That's not good. It's not helping us out. So everybody's completely confused because they said, wait a minute, Kenny, we thought that when Powell cuts rates, that's the rates go down. And that's what I kept trying to tell you guys over and over and over and over. And then I mention over again, when they cut rates, that does not mean that the long-term rates come down, and they actually can go up. And I even said before he cut the first rate, this will probably be the best rates are in a while, because now we're back following the what data, say it one more time, the data. So when you call your lender, your bank, and everybody and go, why aren't rates down? It's because data, folks. The data ain't down. According to the data, whether you believe it or agree with it or not, GDP higher than expected, job growth better than expected, inflation, yes, it's coming down, retail sales better than expected, businesses better than expected. It's just better than expected. And when that's the case, rates are staying elevated. This is the world we live in. Super frustrated. But everybody wants to know, Kenny, when do you think they're going to go down? What would the case be to come down? I don't understand. And guys, I'm going to do my very best to dig in and give you some transparency to try to help out. But remember, it's only an opinion. Yes, I can look at the data. Yes, I'm going to say I'm frustrated like you are because I'm in this business and I thought rates would be lower than they are now. But we will dive into why I think they're not lower, how I think they'll go lower, and maybe where I think they'll go to, and what could get us there. Maybe even by just somebody saying something, not even technically doing something. Before we jump into that, just a reminder, first of all, thanks for watching. You guys should share this with somebody, leave a comment, all that good stuff. But anyways, if this is the first time we met, my name's Kenny Simpson. I'm sure you recognize that by now. I focus on 1 to 4 unit financing. Been doing that for over 20 years. That ages me, but it's okay. Helped over 5,000 clients. I just don't know how many I just stopped counting after 5,000. So whatever that means. Funded $1 billion of loans. Work with the first-time home buyer to the self-employed to the real estate investor. And I create this content for you guys. I do it out of the goodness of my heart and my passion. Just kidding. But yes, it is. I have passion for it. I want to educate you. I want to make sure you know what the heck you're doing, what's going on out there so you don't get screwed. Maybe you learn a bit about rates, the economy, the market, all that good stuff. Today, we're here to talk about rates because that is what you care about. That is what I care about. And that is, my friends, what the whole real estate market cares about, because they want rates to come down. Because yes, not only will it solve problems, it will help. Let's get into it. I don't want to waste any more time. This is going to be short. This is going to be sweet. And it's going to be to the point. So anyways, let's get into how do we get here. 75 basis points by the Fed. Before the first cut was all the hype, all the anxiety. Were they really going to do it? Because they talked about it, thought about it. They did it. Rates were the best they were because all that 10-year, all that hype pushed rates down. The long-term rates, the 10-year was almost at 350. And today, as I told you, it's at 4.429, which is almost 100 basis points higher. And rates that were in commercial in the 4s and the 5s are now in the 5s and the 6s. And in the conventional rates and FHA and VA, they're in the 4s and the 5s, are now in the 5s and 6s. So it's really frustrating. It's really painful because we got here, folks, because of one thing and one thing only. The bond market, the treasury market is watching the data. The data does not support rates to fall off. It's not saying we have a crisis economy. We have recession. It looks terrible. The job market's falling off a cliff. The consumer's falling off a cliff, because you're not. Yes, there's some pain, but there's not enough pain to warrant a lower rate. And that is what we're dealing with. I'm going to give you a couple nuggets, a couple suggestions, a couple ideas of how I think rates could come lower, when they could possibly go lower, and what the hell does all this mean? So anyways, rates I think are a little inflated as I make this video because Trump just won. Everybody's excited or not excited, or the market's thriving. And why would the market be excited? Because they know Trump is going to be all about growth, drill baby drill, cut regulations, threaten people with tariffs, right? He's going to, for the job, for the business owner, it's like, let's all right, LFG, let's effing go. And that's why you're seeing the market rally. They're also rallying because they think maybe tariffs are going to come in, and they're just projecting growth so that 10 years high. If it projected weakness, if he was in, the 10-year would be lower. So number one, we probably get 25, 30-ish basis points higher than it should be. Hopefully they'll get a pullback. The second thing about interest rates is they are going to, it always matters. It's data dependent. It's more data than ever. So the big thing, the first thing that's going to look at is jobs. So what we're looking at with jobs is every Thursday. So every single Thursday, we have initial jobless claims. And initial jobless claims have not been shooting up. We need that number to be 325,000 or higher for 4 weeks. If we see that, that means, folks, there's pain in the jobs market. There's a switch coming. There's something happening. That would signal the bond market. Remember, the bond market's ahead of the game. It does the work for us. So right now it's signaling growth, and we're okay with rates. If it signals pain in the market, economy, jobs, that 10-year will start coming out. So number one, you want to watch for that. Number two, we're going to get another jobs report. Even though they've missed 15 out of the last 21, even though we don't believe it, the jobs reports have to start showing pain, and they're still showing job growth, even though there's, last one wasn't good, or it's blaming the hurricane or strike or whatever. It's still positive enough to where they're not making a difference in the rates. So that's number two. Number three, I think, is inflation's come down. So it's consumer. You as the consumer, you're still spending. You are still spending. Whether you think you're not, whether you are, you are. Maybe you're changing your ways how you spend. Maybe you spend less. You're still spending. You're still shopping. And that is going on. What is 70% of our economy? It's consumer. It's consumption. So we are still spending money, and that's what it is. Number four, I'm leaving as inflation because that's come way down, 9s into the 2s. This week, as I shoot this, you'll have, we had PC last week. You have CPI, PPI. So inflation keeps coming down. We do have to show that trend to continue to come down. 10-year treasury's up a little bit more because they think if Trump comes in, he could, because of the tariffs and negotiation and all this stuff, he could push inflation back up. Could he? Sure. I don't know. I think the tariffs is going to be much more about a negotiation tool rather than him shooting inflation up, because that's the last thing he wants to do or would do, because that's not what he wants. He wants growth. He wants lower rates. He wants people to get ahead, not die. He wants to help the middle class, all that stuff. That's what he says. We'll see. We'll have to wait. So now you know really what's dictating rates. It really is data. We are a data-driven world. It is driving the car. That's what's going on. What are some things that could change data? Well, number one, what could change the data is mass layoffs, a change in the consumer's behavior. But that's still not something that's going to be fast. So here's a couple things with Trump coming in of how things could change. Number one, Trump's right now picking all the people that are going to work with him in his administration. And so he's going to start outlining those particular picks. The second thing, which I'm guessing he's going to start talking about, is the economy. How he, hopefully I haven't heard him. How is he going to bring down long-term rates? We already heard how he's going to deal with help with inflation, because everybody's like, man, food, gas, milk, eggs, building, all that stuff, material, it's expensive. And he's going to drill, bring down the cost of electricity, how we transport things, cost of electricity, and that should hopefully bring down the cost of goods. Another big factor in housing is insurance, so bringing that down. But look, that still isn't a quick fix. So what is something? Obviously, the bond market could sniff something out and think, oh my gosh, we're going to have some slowdown. Elon Musk laid out this thing, Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. So what they're talking about is trying to cut $2 trillion off the government debt. So stay with me. So GDP, right, has been in the 2s. 0.85% of GDP has been because of government spending. The government, last month, there's 12,000 jobs, which is going to get revised to negative, which isn't good. It was terrible. Okay, we'll just leave that one out. But 90,000 jobs were between government and health, and healthcare has to do a lot with the government. Stay with me. The government is playing a big role right now and keeping this economy afloat. It's a big employer. It's hiring. It's spending money. You don't think it is spending money. Look at the GDP. So it's spending. So one of the things that could happen pretty quickly if Trump comes out and says, hey, look, both sides, everybody agrees with, Democrat, Republican, they all know we have a spending. They all know we got to start doing something major. Maybe a lot of them don't want to do it, but somebody's got to be the a-hole in the office to do this. So we need, so elected, whether it's Musk, whatever, they got to start cutting. So what if they come out and say, hey, we're going to start cutting government spending. We're going to start cutting the workforce. We're going to lay off 500,000, 1 million, 2 million people. Let's say they say that. That's a signal like, we're going to go through some pain. Remember, Elon even said, we're going to have to go through some pain before it gets better. We're going to have to go through that pain period. And so, the short-term pain for the long-term gain, that's what we're talking about here. So if Trump does come out and start announcing and talking about what he's going to do, where he's going to cut, and the government's going to maybe let's say, hey, we're going to freeze hiring. We're going to stop spending here. Let's say that happens. That, my friends, would be an interesting event. That, my friends, would be a signal saying, wait a minute, the government's going to stop hiring. They're going to cut back on money. That's going to hurt the economy. That's going to let people go, even though they could get a severance package. That is going to be a flare in the sky saying, wait a second here, the government is really pulling back. So rhetoric, verbal conversations, transparency like that, and even if they come out and that happens, that could be something that signals to the bond treasury market, say, hey, we got a slowdown coming ahead, and businesses might like that. Trump might say stuff that has the market crash or spook the economy or something, right? Because he's like, hey, we got to cut, we got to spend, we got to do this, we got to do that. So if something like that does happen, I could see rates coming down. I could see them pulling back significantly, 50, 100 basis points. That's a lot. So that's something in the near term that could definitely happen. That is on the table. And besides that, we're going to have to keep watching data for rates. Catastrophic event, a pandemic, a war. It's going to really come down to economy, government spending, jobs. Did I mention jobs? Because that's really what this is all about. So in conclusion, if you're sitting there going, do I lock a refi now? Do I wait? What do I do? That's a really hard decision. It's a very, very hard decision. If you can hold off on a refi, probably a good time. If you do need a refi because, pay off a bridge loan, you got to stack cash, you got to save some money, you got to pay off some debt, you got to do something, and you're going to have to do the refi. I'm having this slowly coming out because everybody's asking what to do, calling, what do we do? I don't know what to do. It's a very, very tough time. But what I will tell you is if you're looking to buy a house, the market's a little stagnant right now. So right now at these rates, the market goes stagnant. If rates go higher, it gets really bad. Rates go lower, it's going to help. We already saw rates went down. Boom. It's like things turn on, things start moving, the blood starts flowing. So we really need conventional rates in the 5s, commercial rates in the 4s and 5s. That's what we need. Because remember, the government's going to have to refinance debt. You got all these loans maturing in the commercial. You got people that bought that need to refinance. One of the things that Steve Mnuchin said, that used to be Treasury Secretary for Trump, he mentioned that they're talking about maybe capping the 10-year 4.5. So Fed's coming in, so rates don't get too high. Look, could the Feds come in tomorrow and start buying mortgage-backed securities and bring rates out? Absolutely. That's not what we want. That's not what the market wants. That's not what the government wants. That's them spending money. That's stimulus. We don't want that. Even though that might not stir the economy, we want to just see rates come down naturally. So I think just seeing the governments get more efficient, the government cut spending, and signaling that out there, and getting some transparency from Trump and his team of what exactly they're going to do, how they're going to bring down long-term rates is going to be great. So Trump gives more transparency of what's going on in the market, what's going on in the economy, what does he see moving forward, how does he predict long-term rates would come down, how does he see that fit, how can we bring inflation down, are we going to have some type of slowdown, recession, are we going to go through some pain? It seems like we need to, because it seems like if the government really is spending money and keeping us afloat, long-term, that's a disaster, and we don't want that. So I'm okay with going some cuts and short-term pain, which would bring rates down, great. But honestly, the government's got to stop bailing everybody out. It's got to stop printing money. It's got to stop spending money we don't have, because we're going to run out of it. We really will. And the interest alone is going to be absorbent once we have to start paying it on. And things like insurance, health insurance, and insurance on your office, your house, whatever, it's out of control right now. So I hope really this administration is going to come in with all the team players and make things much more efficient with health, with insurance, with transparency, with housing, with affordability. And it's kind of a wait and see game. So not much to report here. I am getting this conversation. This obviously question a lot about rates. I don't have a great answer. I thought rates would end the year lower. We still have, a month and a half left, whatever it is. Hopefully we'll get some pullback as we kind of move away from the Trump election. He'll start talking more. People realize he's not going to get all this done. The 10-year treasury move back. I'd love to see it under 4. But last but not least, we've got, another jobs print here, maybe 1 or 2 for the year. If we get some pain there, rates could pull back. So anyways, keep the faith, keep watching, keep on it. Make sure you're following me on social, because you're going to get more daily updates there. You're on my email list. You get 2-3 emails a week, and you guys are checking in, but that's it. So it's not better or bad news. This is what we're dealing with. So it's a wait and see. Keep the faith. Be ready. If you got a refi, get your shit together, get it ready, be ready, because rates can move down. It's that little time again window, and you got to be ready to pounce, lock, and go with it. Whether you're residential, commercial, whatever you are, it doesn't matter. We got to be ready. So anyways, hey guys, thanks for watching.